Hello, PAX. Good to see everyone. Wow, what a crowd. All right, who wants to learn a little bit about Borderlands 4? You know what? Let's gauge how much we reveal by how much noise you make. Let's try that again. Who wants to hear a little bit about Borderlands 4? Actually tricked you. We can't reveal everything, but that amount of volume would have been dedicated to revealing the entire game. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Andrew Reiner. I'm the Global Creative Executive Officer at Gearbox. Randy Pitchford invited me to be here, a part of the Gearbox team about 2 years ago. And on my first day of work, he sat me down and showed me Borderlands 4. You can't ask for a better first day of work. And I've been playing it pretty much every day since then, and it keeps getting better and better. But on that first day, what I saw made me have my jaw on the floor. I was blown away, and not just by what I was seeing on screen, but the ideas that the team is applying to this game. It's truly outstanding, and I think I can confidently say we're making the best Borderlands game to date. Yeah. And we have some of the team here to walk you through what we're making. And we're going to show you a little bit of stuff too. Not from in the game itself, but you'll see some stuff. Collectively, this group of people has about 100 collective years of development time working on Borderlands games. It's amazing. This is a senior team. They know what they're doing, and they're crushing it. So without further delay, let's bring out Anthony Nicholson, our senior product producer. Hello, hello. Good to see you, buddy.
What's up, y'all?
Graeme Timmins, our creative director. Adam May, our art director. Sam Winkler, our narrative director.
First time!
Welcome to the stage, Sam.
Stunning debut.
And then Randy Varnell, our chief creative officer. All right, let's start with the teaser trailer a little bit here. You're seeing that on screen. You got Elpis there. Varnell, let's go back to day one. The planning that goes into something like this. How do we unveil a new Borderlands game?
Man, we literally start working on the next Borderlands like literally the hours after we ship the previous one. So like at the tail of Borderlands 3, where we're playing the game, we're watching you guys play the game, we're all enjoying that experience together, and then in those ensuing weeks, we're thinking about what can we do to continue that journey together? What can we do to do it even more, right? To think about that. We're here at the very beginning of the Borderlands 4 journey with you guys, and we love opening up at PAX because PAX is the best. You guys are the real fans, right?
Absolutely.
We wanted to give you, so this is again, keep in mind, really early. We're just starting talking about Borderlands 4. We got the teaser trailer out. We're going to talk about that. We're going to a little bit of stuff today. In the coming weeks and months, you're going to hear a lot more exciting things about Borderlands 4. So on the teaser trailer, though, it starts like it always does. A group of creative people sitting in a room, and we start asking ourselves, what are the coolest things that we can do that? So the teaser trailer, we started that work about 2 or 3 months ago, right? When we're thinking about getting ready for the moment a couple of weeks ago in PAX, and we get together and like, how do we think about the journey we've been on in previous Borderlands, and how do we go to a new place? What are the cool things that we do? What are the cool images? Where's that first image that you put on screen? And we all kind of throw things out at the wall, and we come up with familiar things like planets and cool effects and art, but then Firehawks, right?
Yeah, and what are some of those cool things that people will get really excited about? We want to make sure that they're pumped up about the things, but we don't want to reveal too much because that's why they're teaser trailers. But yeah, the Firehawk stuff, Sam, you guys really were thinking about how do we want to hit each of these individual beats to make sure that people are excited about what we're trying to hint at here.
Right. Well, the Firehawk is the beginning of this trailer, but really it's the ending of Borderlands 3. Has anyone played Borderlands 3? Has anyone beaten it?
I did.
Endgame? No one's at endgame.
Sam, walk us through the narrative that's going on in this trailer.
Well, so the last thing we saw in Borderlands 3 was the climactic events in which the moon of Elpis was going to destroy the planet Pandora. And our hero Lilith, a siren who's able to teleport using phase walk, sacrifices herself in order to teleport away the entire moon of Elpis. That happens mere seconds before what we see behind us here.
You wondered where the moon went?
There
There it is.
It went somewhere.
Somewhere.
out in the 6 galaxies.
Same universe.
Same universe. A patch of space that no one's seen in a long, long time, and there's a reason for that. We see the moon collide with this cloaking veil that is obscuring a planet. And what we see next tells us a little bit about what's going on in that planet.
First, this planet is hidden from the universe.
Completely. Hasn't been seen in ages.
So brand new.
And Adam, you had a nice contribution. What we're seeing here on these screens right now is the veil being shattered here. Can you talk about kind of your contribution? And you had this kind of eureka moment like, hey, I have an idea.
Yeah, that was actually a fun challenge. It was something we went back and forth on quite a bit. We had a whole slew of different iterations. We actually started out with something more ethereal, kind of like a giant projection, digital projection around the planet. And
Like Wub Wub if it were in visual form.
yeah, exactly. Just a little bit of sound up there, and that's it. But we quickly realized that just wasn't an interesting enough collision when the moon hits like a digital projection. And so we realized we needed to do something more physical with it. And so we looked at like breaking glass and a few other things. And finally I stumbled upon like some reference of these giant icebreaker ships that they use for exploring like the different poles that, crash their ships up against these giant plates of ice and they shatter and fly all over the place. And we were like, wow, now that's something cool. And that was it. And then we knew we had something that was awesome.
I mean, I don't know why I just didn't pull from all the existing reference of like actual planets colliding into other mystical invisible planets. There's a lot of that on the internet.
Yeah, that would have made it easier for sure. But no, this was a lot of fun. It's always cool to pull from like real life things. There's so much interesting, cool things out there that there's always a bottomless pit of things you can draw from.
Yeah, we had another moment. Randy Pitchford, we were in a creative session. There was like 17 of us on the call, and he turned off his camera. And it turns out he was like directing and acting in his own little video. You're seeing it on the screens here, but we were stuck on that mask flip moment. Varnell, if you kind of want to go into that.
Yeah, and one thing I love about our fans is just watching the cosplay. Like, so many of you share that heart of creativity with us. Like, so you know what it is to make something, right? And look for that moment where it's you're about to reveal it to your friends, you're about to show it off, right? So you work on a trailer, and we look for those moments, and we really scrutinize over the like seconds and half a seconds of timing. So we were all in a call trying to figure out, and Randy Pitchford, I wish he could be here talking about this today. He got frustrated. He's like, okay, watch out. And he literally turned around where he has bandit masks sitting around him, right? Grabbed one off the shelf and took, you see it, I think back here, we took it and said, flip it around, like, this is how it needs to go. You want that moment, that iconic vision of Borderlands, the bandit mask with the vault symbol on it, flips around and hits, and it's timed that way in the video. And if you look at like what they did, the guys who put the video together for us literally mirrored that timing almost exactly. Like it was the moment that we did that, and it's a dozen of those moments and 100 of those moments that make the game and make the games that we bring to you guys.
Graeme, I'm going to go over to you on the second half of this teaser trailer. There's kind of a raining effect, meteors coming in. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, there's a reason everything's in the trailer, right? And Elpis shows up here, and it rains down these meteors on the planet as an important element of what we're looking at here in the future. We wanted to have spectacle and effects and audio go on and really try to give people a little insight to this new world, this new undisclosed planet, and how this source of chaos arrives here when this big moment happens, how disruptive it is to this planet and to what it's doing.
And if you kind of go frame by frame through this, there's some secrets in there. A lot of people have figured them out, but There's also a city. There's civilization here.
We know you guys. We know that you're going to take every frame of that and every word that we say on this panel and try to read in between what's going on. We have to be careful because there are marketing ninjas that will descend from the ceiling if we say certain trigger words. So we have to be careful.
Let's go to Borderlands 4 now. Like, proper the game. When I was a game journalist in a different life, one of my favorite questions to ask developers was, what was that initial spark that led to the creation of the game, or a sequel? It's always different. Sometimes that spark goes all the way through the creation of the entire game. It could be an innovative gameplay concept. It could be a unique storyline, or even creating an entirely new genre like we did with Borderlands all those years ago, right? The looter shooter. This is the OG. Varnell, let's go into that a little bit. Just kind of talk about day one. When we knew we kind of hit the ground running with Borderlands 4.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we sit down in a room together, and literally, if you commiserate on being creators, right? We sit down with that empty whiteboard, that blank piece of paper, that empty pinboard, and we start thinking, we start asking ourselves, and it starts at a really honest place. What do our fans love? What do we love? And where do those things intersect? Where do we find that Borderlands, if you will, of where we meet together in the middle of the things we love about this universe that we've shared together for the last 15 years, right? And we start putting things on the board, and then we kind of yes and
putting things back on the board.
Yeah.
Because our ambition is always greater than our time allowed, and so as much as it's about continuing Borderlands as it exists, there's lots of things that don't make it. And we kind of want to throw those back on the boards to kind of re-examine, like, that idea that we didn't have time for, how could we bring that to the forefront and actually invest in it? So we've got some great stuff that, we've thought about for years at this point that we're actually executing this time around, which is really exciting for the group of us who've been with the project so long to see this iteration and all these topics keep coming back and now having the ability to actually do them right.
Yeah, maybe this will be the Borderlands that the left-handed guns finally make it.
I wouldn't count on that one, per se, but there's some other stuff, I promise.
I like what you said there, too, because there's two pieces of what you guys were talking about. We care a lot about what the fans say. I was the head of DLC. He was the creative director over DLC work. And so, we were always listening to you guys and trying to engage and see, what are those things that we can do to make stuff better. Speaking of fans, I think I saw Melody and Michael, who, there they are. So these folks, they're friends of ours now. They got married at PAX, which was pretty sweet.
Oh, wow.
Years ago.
Hey, big applause to them.
Hey, guys. So,
Love you guys.
we engaged with our fans. We really care. We want to see those things that worked well. Sometimes they throw stuff at us that we don't want to touch, we don't want to tackle.
Yeah, we get some very clear and direct feedback, and it's part of our job to read it all. I promise you, we have gotten some very clear messaging from the community, and we're very fortunate to have the community that we do have, that you guys are passionate enough to give us feedback. So we'll make sure everyone knows that's not lost on us, and we do watch our socials, we watch forums and whatnot, and I try to keep as much as what we have in mind and the goals that we want to accomplish as entertainers, but also make sure that we're meeting our community and meeting their expectations for what makes a great Borderlands.
Yeah, we care a lot about what you guys say, and so we'll take, what are the things that we did really well in Borderlands 3? What are some of the things that we didn't have time for, that we couldn't get to? And then what are some of those things that we've kind of always had on our whiteboard that maybe we haven't touched?
I mean, one of the things that we love to go very deep into, but that starts every project, who are our Vault Hunters this time around. So we will have 4 brand new Vault Hunters in Borderlands 4, right?
Surprise.
And
Surprise.
surprise, yeah, right.
Reveal!
Graeme, let's go into what it takes to create a Vault Hunter. Let's
Sure.
talk about that a little bit.
Well, when we look at the Vault Hunters, the first thing that we always try to look at is what is some fundamental promises and fantasies that players might have that we want to explore. So some examples might be, starting way back on BL1 was like a soldier fantasy, straightforward FPS style character, right? Carried on to Axton. If you look at another promise might be our sirens. Our sirens kind of speak to a mage or sorcerer fantasy in our very like sci-fi world. But even between each game, as much as we start to identify these fantasies that we want to explore with these Vault Hunters, we also think about how can we change them up. So our sirens, have been very, ranged at times in some of their abilities, but then in BL3, we wanted to flip that concept from what Maya was to Amara, and she went more physical and melee based. So even though we have some similar promises, we think it's important that we switch it up and not do just rote designs game to game and how we can change them. And Moe's is a big change to the soldier fantasy. We went straight up to mech. So when we look at these characters, we want to look at those fantasies and how we can fulfill them. And the other part that's really important for me as a designer is make characters that are approachable, interesting, just at a baseline, and account for complexity. I think our RPG side of the game is so important, and just like our first-person side, where we're always looking to expand and add depth, we're doing that on the RPG side, but we don't want to do that at the cost of complexity. And so I always look at our characters and understand, like, between their action skills, how much management might be happening when you press that action skill button. Is it just fire and forget, and that's great, it's a simple return on your investment? Or is to get the most value out of this character, do you have to kind of manage your action skill maybe over time, or how you do it? Amara's fourth skill tree that we added in the DLC for Borderlands 3 is an example. A lot of hers were fire and forget, but then I really wanted to make sure that she had a management skill. And so her fourth skill tree is moving that phase ball around the battlefield as a way to like have a range of complexity just within one character.
And Adam, to follow up on that, like you get the direction, hey, we want to have a soldier type or a new siren or something like that. Can you talk about kind of the design that goes into these? You helped create some of these characters. Lilith, I think, is one of your...
Yeah. Well, I've been involved since the first one, so Lilith was one of mine. Yeah. Love the cosplay.
Creator meet Lilith, Lilith meet creator.
Yeah, and well, our Vault Hunters across the board, though, have always been as different as we could possibly make them. I mean, they're misfits, outcasts, almost anti-heroes frequently, but they're adventure hunters as well. So frequently, we play with a lot of different ideas, different looks, different styles, different abilities, and we love those to actually influence the characters themselves. So frequently, they won't even look like a group of heroes that you'd expect to see together, kind of like a superhero group, but like a mix and match of all different kinds of them. But we also try to find like interesting ways to bring in all kinds of different backgrounds and histories and origins for them to make them each unique and special in their own right. But more than anything, it's about like fantasy fulfillment for us. We want these characters to be somebody that we'd want to play and someone that our players would want to play. So it's really about trying to imagine like the coolest version of what you could possibly be in this wild universe.
And Sam, building off that fantasy, you got to write the story for these characters, world building, character development, tonality. Talk a little bit about that, like what we're doing with Borderlands 4, with tone and maybe character a little bit.
Well, one of the privileges of working in the Borderlands franchise is that everyone sort of agrees what the tone should be and what is funny and what type of storytelling we should be doing.
And every joke lands.
And every joke lands in the room. That's obviously a lie. Even within Gearbox, there's a lot of different ideas of what Borderlands is and what it means and what it should be in every iteration. Borderlands 1 was, a desolate wasteland, but it was a treasure hunt kind of across that space. Borderlands 2 was a much more active revenge story. You were taking down a tyrannical dictator. Borderlands 3, it was a race. It was beat the twins and the COV to the vaults. With Borderlands 4, we want to bring it back to the player. We want to make sure that the player and the Vault Hunters are the central character of our story.
You are the heroes.
Yes.
100%.
The fans, literally. Thank you, guys.
Yes. We want to make sure that the world is
Yeah,
reactive.
let's applaud for that. Fans, you guys are the heroes. We're here because you share the universe with us.
We want to make sure that the world is reactive, that the world is grounded, that while we keep our humor that brings a lot of people coming back to our franchise in the game, we want to make sure it is situational and it emerges naturally. So while we're building these characters, we're always thinking about making sure that they have strong personalities, that they will react differently to different situations, and that we see the effects of that.
Yeah, and whenever we're moving through, we're talking with design and looking at things on the artscape. Whenever we're moving through, we want to make sure that the Vault Hunters are the ones who are engaging and causing some of these things. They're the hero of the story, just like Sam was talking about. We've talked about things like putting Vault Hunters inside cutscenes and cinematics so that you can see them alongside and feel like they're a part of that story too. So a lot of those different things that go into feeling like you are the one who is pushing things along and getting things taken care of instead of being along for a ride.
So I'm gonna interject with this. Totally unplanned. You're gonna hate me for this. You guys have a rare chance here. You have the four of the key directors of our game. This is the hundreds of people working on Borderlands, right? But you have a moment here with our 4 directors that are going to go back and continue some really, really tough work on the game. You can influence them. So I want to do a little thing right here. We're not taking ideas and questions, but let's do a survey. Here's how you can influence them. We talked a lot about Vault Hunters, right? You guys have played, most of you here have played through Borderlands 3, and I know because of what we talked about, everybody has a favorite, right? So here's what I want to do. I want to take a quick survey in the room. I'm going to name a Vault Hunter, and if you felt that was your Vault Hunter, I just want you to scream real quick, right? Give us a shout out. Ready? Okay, here we go. Amara. Pretty good. Zane.
Yeah, Zane Mains.
Mose. All right, some Iron Bears out here. I get you. Flack. I don't know. It's pretty close. What do you guys think?
I think it's pretty close, and I think that's a great sign that we've developed characters that have a pretty broad swath of interest. That's really important to us, that all 4 characters at that start of the game, if we did it right, you want to start all 4 characters before you go on this long journey with them. That's a really great sign.
And something we always talk about too is like finding that Vault Hunter for you. Like, what is your style, or what is that personality that you want to be able to incorporate?
We love everybody to find their character in Borderlands.
Yes.
All right, we've been showing the teaser trailer, images from past Borderlands games. Let's show some new stuff, some art that you mentioned. Here is your first shot of concept art from Borderlands 4. Adam, let's talk about the art design overall, kind of what we're going for here and what you want to achieve as you're building new content, right?
Yeah, well, Borderlands universe is just super interesting, and there's so much to get to play with. I mean, it is like a post-apocalyptic world, but in the distant future. So it's like high-tech but low-fi, and it just creates all kinds of interesting opportunities on what we can do with tech and our weapons and our characters and our world in general. And can't say much, but this has a lot to do with it here.
Well, here's another piece. Yeah.
These are really, a lot of other things we haven't really had a chance to play with too much in the past is some of that high technology stuff. And so as you can see here, we're actually doing a lot of like digital projections, and we're getting to see some, because this has been such a isolated world, some of the things that you wouldn't have seen anywhere else in our
looks different than where we've been before.
Exactly, yeah, and that's the key thing we're always after is we want to see something new too. We don't want to just keep rehashing the same world over and over again, So we really get to play with more color and more tech in this world than we have in any others.
Yeah, fans, take a good close look at these images. There's some cool stuff in here. Like having played through the games and seeing some of this, I'm like, well, there's some good stuff in here.
Yeah, this definitely is the most diverse and beautiful game we've ever made. So I'm really excited.
I mean, you can go there and kill that.
Yeah. Right? You can kill everything. Yeah.
I think what's great also about those shots, we kind of highlight this whole idea of, like you were saying, tech that's been repurposed and kit bashed. I think in BL1, we kind of did a great job of establishing a tech level. And even with that, we're looking at ways how to kind of bend and break some of those tech level rules this time around to continue to kind of find something new and interesting for players to explore.
One of the wonderful problems we have is we have so many great characters. Like we just talked about some of the Vault Hunters. Varnell, go into that. Like, the balance between something new and different, and Sam, you could jump in here too, I think, on just striking that, like bringing back old favorites versus new.
No, we're creators, and we have, but we're 5 games, big games deep into a franchise, you know, on the main Borderlands line, including pre-sequels and Borderlands 4. And man, it's a great problem to have, where we have a ton of characters that we want to spend time with. And we, by the way, we do incessantly listen to what you guys talk to on the internet and on forums and stuff like that. We listen to all of the characters that you love and the characters you don't love, and we want to do that. But we're also creators. We want to come to the table and we want to add something new to the sauce every time, right?
Absolutely, and with the new planet comes a lot of new characters. In fact, in Borderlands 4, we're trying to focus on new characters and new stories, answering questions about...
Probably a little bit more new than
yes.
Oh, because we're in a new planet, a brand new place, right?
Yeah.
Looking at me, yeah.
That's a true statement.
That is correct.
We can say that. There'll be new characters in this game.
A couple familiar ones.
But really, I think what I kind of take away from all of that is we do like to consider ourselves storytellers. And it's really, we love creating characters with depth and complexity, you know, personal struggles that they go through that we can explore. And I think that's why our characters have resonated with our community. And we have people who do incredible cosplay like they have, because we try to create characters with depth, and we want to show them all the time in every game, but you know, players can only handle so many ideas and so many characters in one time before it kind of becomes, you know, in our very first person shooter, run and gun, shooter looter world, when you have all these voices going off, it can be really complex and hard to follow. And so I really like that this time around we're focusing on newer characters and telling their stories more clearly and concisely, as opposed to having a massive cast that we have to kind of juggle between all these points. So I'm really excited about kind of that focus this time around. I think the storytelling is going to be much stronger for it.
And that was something that we experimented with a lot in the DLCs for Borderlands 3.
Yes.
We treated those as standalone stories, very tight, concise arcs, and if someone was in that story, they had a very strong purpose there, and they themselves went through an arc. And we're trying to bring that mentality to this new project.
But still a vast world, right?
Yeah.
Big.
Absolutely.
And we want everybody to care about those characters in one way or another, right? Like, people don't spend the hundreds of hours that you guys do cosplaying stuff that you don't care about. So we want to make sure that there's something for everyone, and that there's personality behind it, and they look cool and they're badass.
I feel like we're getting a little too comfortable here. We're getting into a bit of spoiler territory. We're at time, but we have a lot more to share in the future, and we can't wait for you to see Borderlands 4 coming 2025. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Gotta hand it over to Dan Hewitt again.
Hi.
Hi, Dan.
Hello.
Thanks, guys. Really
Thanks, guys.
appreciate it. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
everyone.
Let's give them a round of applause, y'all. All right. So that is our PAX show. Now, if you want, you can wish list Borderlands 4 right now. There's a QR code if you want to take advantage of that. Go out there and wish list it. And please, please, please come by and say hi to us. We're going to be doing a autograph signing in rooms 435 and 436 immediately after this panel. So come by, say hi. We're happy to sign pretty much almost anything you want within reason. And with that, have a great PAX, y'all. Take care.